Have you ever thought about how a single night's journey could capture the entire human story, faith, failure, and redemption? Well, today we're going to dive into Surah al-Isra, which is one of the most profound chapters of the Quran. It's a journey that kicks off with a miracle, takes a detour through history, and wraps up with a really powerful question about our own accountability. So let's get into it.
The chapter opens with this incredible verse, and right away, it just pulls you into this world of divine wonder. It talks about a miraculous night journey that people have been thinking about for centuries. But this isn't just some historical event. It's the very lens through which we're supposed to view the entire message of this chapter.
So what exactly was this journey? Well, it was a profound voyage, both physical and spiritual, all the way from Mecca to Jerusalem. And this is such a pivotal moment. It connects different prophetic traditions, it gives special importance to a key location, and it basically signals that the message we're about to unpack comes from a divine source.
Okay, so from this incredible, miraculous opening, the chapter takes a really fascinating turn and dives into history. And it doesn't just tell the story of the children of Israel, it actually presents their history as a timeless case study. It reveals this powerful link between what a community does and what ultimately happens to it. Let's break down how this pattern actually plays out.
You can see a really clear cycle here. First, there's a divine warning. 2 periods of major corruption are predicted. Then, after the first time they go astray, consequences follow. But then, they get a second chance. Their wealth and power are restored, which is really a test of their gratitude in their actions. And when they transgress again, well, the outcome is sealed. It's this very distinct pattern of cause and effect.
And this verse right here, it just captures the entire lesson. It boils down that whole complex story into one powerful idea: self-accountability. The message is crystal clear. Divine justice isn't random. Nope, it's a direct reflection of our own choices. When you do good things, you benefit. And when you do evil, well, the consequences are on you.
So once that principle of accountability is set in stone, the chapter then shifts gears to give us a practical guide for how to live. It lays out this comprehensive moral code, a set of really clear commandments for building a just and righteous life, both for ourselves and for society as a whole. So what's actually in this divine roadmap for a righteous life? Well, the text is incredibly specific. It gives us a series of commands that all build on each other, and it starts with the most fundamental relationship of all. It all starts at the very core, worshiping God alone. From that foundation, it moves to the family, telling us to show profound kindness to our parents. Then the circle gets bigger, expanding to the wider community, urging us to care for relatives, the poor, and even the traveler. And finally, it tackles economic justice, pushing for a balance between being stingy and being wasteful. You can see how each command builds on the last, creating this whole vision for a compassionate society.
And the moral code keeps going, building the framework for a stable society. It protects the most vulnerable, like children and orphans. It safeguards social honor by forbidding adultery. It sanctifies human life. And it ensures trust by commanding us to keep our promises and to be just in our business dealings. These aren't just rules, they're the very pillars of a functioning civilization.
Now, beyond just our actions, the chapter also gets into our inner character. And this verse about humility, wow, it uses such a striking image. It reminds us that no matter how arrogant we are, we can't physically rip the earth apart or grow taller than the mountains. It's a really powerful call to just recognize our place in the grand scheme of things.
So, after laying out all these historical lessons on the moral code, a really important question comes up. What is the nature of this guidance itself? So the chapter then turns inward, explaining the role of the Quran and the effect it has on the human heart.
The text actually defines its own purpose. For believers, it's described as a shifa, a healing and a mercy. But for those who choose to do wrong, that same guidance only makes their sense of loss even greater. And this reveals a key idea, right? The impact of the message depends completely on the state of the heart that's receiving it.
Okay, so all of these themes we've talked about, the miraculous journey, the lessons from history, the moral code, they all come together and lead to the chapter's powerful conclusion, this final, inescapable truth about our own accountability.
The text uses this incredibly powerful metaphor. It says our deeds are fastened to our necks, which suggests they're inseparable from who we are. This image just conveys such an intense sense of personal responsibility. Our actions aren't just things that happen, they're a part of us that we carry with us, all the way to the final judgment.
In this verse, this is the climax of that accountability. On the day of judgment, every single person is handed their own record, their own book of deeds. And the command is so simple: read. In that moment, there's no one else to blame, no external accusers. We become our own witnesses, our own accountants, in a moment of absolute, undeniable clarity.
So after this whole journey through history, morality, and accountability, the chapter leaves us with one final humbling thought, that God knows best who is truly guided. And this prompts a question for every one of us to think about. In a world that's filled with so many different paths, what does it truly mean to seek and to actually live the one that leads to the best destination?